we have been looking at verse number 3, and I will summarize that presently. Verses number 4, 5, and 6 have basically the same theme, and it will not take very long to understand the nuances of verses number 4, 5, and 6, so long as we have the background of the author's thinking, which is which comprises the bread and butter of Vedanta Shastra. And so let me share the text once again, and I will point out point out some of the similar themes in these verses. So we saw this one: Yadananda Swarupam, Prakasha Swarupam, Nirasta Prapancham, Parichhedahinam. The first two lines define what Brahman is from the standpoint of its own self. What do you mean by from the standpoint of its own self? That without which Brahman cannot be. A definition that is intrinsic to Brahman, and a definition that fits nothing else in the whole universe other than Brahman. In Sanskritam, such a definition is called Swarupa Lakshana. Lakshana, definition. Swarupa, the nature. So, for example, if we take a Vyavaharika, worldly example, what is the definition of fire? If we say, what is it that the fire cannot be without? The answer is very easy: heat and light. This is intrinsic to the fire. Without heat, no fire. You can't have cold fire. And without light, that which emits light, no fire. Here we are not talking of smoke, we are talking of fire. So, like this, Brahman has also a definition that is intrinsic to it called Swarupa Lakshana, which comprises the first two lines here. It is Parichedahina. It is free of time, free of space, and free of being any particular object, including the body, the mind, etc. And because it is free of time, space, and object-wise free, that means it is limitless, Ananda Rupa. Limitless means there is nothing to cut off its joyfulness. And it is of the nature of knowledge, Prakasha Swarupa, so Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And it has nothing to do with the whole Jagat. Nothing to do means the Jagat is Brahman. Brahman is not the Jagat. See, this is the Swarupa Lakshana. Beautiful. And I'll be talking more about that. And then, how do you understand this as aham? Because if supposing somebody just keeps on defining Brahman like this, then the question will definitely arise: what has that got to do with me? Pray tell. Something called Brahman, asti kinchit, something called Brahman is there. Okay, big deal. Let it be there. What is it doing to me? What is it doing to me? If it is free, if it is free of form, name, if it is of the nature of all knowledge, if it shines, and if it has nothing to do with the universe, and if it is limitless, then how is it benefiting me? And so, therefore, the point of this Swarupa Lakshana is to understand this as yourself. That is the idea. I am this Brahma. Tad Brahma Ahamasmi iti, you have to understand. Otherwise, this Brahman can be anything, anywhere, anytime, all the time. Who cares? How is it pertinent to me? How is it important to me? This nobody, everybody is in the dark about this. And so the point is to understand it as you alone. And how to do that, we already saw in verse number 2. Go to the Guru, who will give you instruction, and the Guru will tell you, this is Aham Brahma Vritti Ekagamyam. Ekagamyam means by only one method, through the teaching that I am Brahman, which the teacher gives, and through that teaching alone, I can understand that I am this, which is free of ananda, which is free of limitations, which is free of the universe. Free of the universe means, we are in trouble because, like somebody asked a question yesterday, as long as I am in the class, I'm all right. I can understand that I am Brahman. But then, as soon as I switch off the Zoom, then what am I to do? Because the world as it is confronts me. You see, this is the beauty of Swarupa Lakshan. No, it's like a cat and dog game. Sometimes in one household, especially in America, they will have cat and they will have dog in the same place. And sometimes they get along and sometimes they don't get along. And on the occasions they don't get along, the dog, being bigger, will chase the cat around the house, around the room. And in the process of this chase, both of them will knock down all kinds of precious artifacts in the house, giving you instant vairagya. Okay, yeah. And then and then they will knock off everything, and then the cat suddenly gets the idea and goes, climbs the bookshelf, the top shelf of the bookshelf, after making it itself some room, after knocking off a few books. Okay, the cat will sit there and then look upon the dog, look down upon the dog, literally and figuratively. Oh, you lowly mortal, what are you going to do now? I'm out of your reach. I'm out of your reach. You can't do anything. And the dog will be sitting and whining, and the dog will be waiting to get at this cat, but the dog doesn't know how to climb. And dog doesn't have the cat's lithe body to be able to just go and sit or and chase it from the bookshelf. No, the cat will be looking at the dog victorious, victoriously. Ha! Look at where I am. Look where you stupid thing. You're just wagging your tail and you're just, whining over there, making noises. You cannot get me. And that is the purpose of the Swarupa Lakshana. As soon as the Swarupa Lakshana of Brahman, as oneself is taught, that you are not the sum total of this miserable body, this complaining mind, and these senses that drive one senseless, you are not any of this. You are the source of the whole universe, and you are in the form of unbridled Ananda, ever present Ananda. You are one with the source. You are the whole. You are that consciousness that transcends this body mind sense complex. In other words, you are the triumphant cat sitting atop the bookshelf. Why? Because now you have had the instruction of Swarupa Lakshana. This is amazing. This is fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Since you've had the instruction that you are not belonging to this, you are not uh, dogged by the Jagat. This dogged Jagat is unable to get you while you are in Swarupa Lakshana. When you understand that you are nothing but this, but that which is not a product of this Jagat, and you have nothing in common with the Jagat. The universe is finite. You are infinite. The universe is a what's that? Is ephemeral and changing all the time. You are free of that, and the universe can be a source of when it's not understood correctly, can be a source of pain, sorrow, strife, conflict. You are none of that, and So you are free of finitude means you are free of sorrow, doubt, fear, all the things, everything. So, like the cat, you are looking triumphantly down on the Jagat and all its finitude. So, the purpose of the Swarupa Lakshana, knowing the intrinsic nature of Brahman, gives you a lofty perspective as yourself. It's not that the Swarupa Lakshana is somebody else's Swarupa. No, it's your own Swarupa. Your own Swarupa here we are talking about. It gives you a lofty perspective, a perspective that cannot be taken away. And that perspective, it helps you to look to look at the Jagat as something not even worth, that as something that you have escaped. It provides you from a wonderful escape from that which is called the Jagat, that which has been subjectively internalized. Subjectively internalized as what? Subjectively internalized as the, as something to, as something which is out to get me. Like the dog is out to get the cat. Dog is out to get the cat. Jagat, I am dogged by the Jagat. Jagat is out to get me. As soon as you wake up, what happens? The Jagat also wakes up with you. All the things you have to do are coming, in are staring at you in the face. All and then all the people who do not get along with you, or the ones you do not get along with, all of them are waiting to hurl some insults, to find some fault, and to go here, go there, do this, do that, all these things. So, this is this is very interesting. So, like the cat, which leaped onto the top shelf of the bookcase after knocking off a few objects and making room for itself, it is sitting gracefully, looking down upon the source of its misery, i.e., the dog. Likewise, as soon as I am instructed with the Swarupa Lakshana of Brahman, I too leap up to a lofty perspective about myself and about my own nature, so that I am not dogged by the Jagat. The Jagat has no power to bring me down. This is very nice. This is wonderful. This is why the Swarupa Lakshana exists. This is how to understand the Swarupa Lakshana. But then, back to our cat and dog story. You know what is happening over there? The dog doesn't leave its place. Dog is looking up at the cat and now it is growling softly. First it was whining in disappointment. Oh no, you got away from me. Now it's growling with its lip bared, with its teeth bared. Rrr, it's going. And it is communicating to the cat only in the language that the animals can understand. We can just guess. So what is the dog saying to the cat? How long you're going to stay there? You will come down. You have to eat. You have to go to the bathroom at some point. You have to trouble the owners by doing some mischief or the other, because cats are very mischievous. And then you have to sit on the owner's lap and purr and get some petting. So you will definitely come down. And I have nothing to do. I'm going to lie here and wait for you to come down. I want to wait for you to come down. I'm not in a hurry. And you think you have escaped. You think you have escaped, but this escape, my dear Kitty, is not permanent. It's not a permanent escape. Why? Why isn't it a permanent escape? Because you have cornered yourself and you are out of reach. Yes, I can't come and get you. But the whole, whatever is right over here, belongs to my realm, and you have to come to my realm for transactional purposes like the call of nature, like food, drink, sleep, all these things you have to come down. And then go back to the Darshtanta. Darshtanta means, what does the cat symbolize? The cat symbolizes the Jiva, the newly minted Vedantin who has suddenly understood, I am free of time, I am free of space, I am free of sorrow, I am Brahman. Fantastic. But it is not yet complete. Why? Because the Jagat is waiting. The Jagat is filing its nails. The Jagat is going out for coffee and coming back. Before it troubles you, the Jagat is waiting. Just like somebody said yesterday, what is going to happen to my understanding after this course ends? so, so that is why we have another definition of Brahma, another and together along with this definition, that definition and this definition together give give the hope of a freedom that is lasting, that is permanent, from which I don't have to run away, from a definition of the jagat from which by which I am not by which I am not troubled, and therefore from which I do not have to run away. This is called tatastha lakshana. Tate tishtati iti tatastha. Tatastha lakshana means the jagat becomes a, a way to recognize Brahman, an incidental chinha, linga. Linga means a kind of a sign to understand Brahman. How? Just like if you go to some kinds of, some kind of a development where your friend has recently moved in, and then you don't know which house belongs to the friend. You ask the security person at the gate because all the houses are alike. Or did you see somebody, you describe the friend and the family, two children and small children and the wife and husband? Did you see this family? And the security guard who just moved in this afternoon? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, where do they live? Can you show me their house? And he just looks and he says, ah, okay. Do you see that house over there? Which house over where? All of them look alike. What do you mean? No, no. Look carefully. Do you see that house on top of which a crow is sitting? The crow is sitting on that house. Yeah, oh, that house on the third row. Yes, 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 that's your friend's house. Go there. And what do? I identify the house, and then I have no problem going there and greeting my friend, seeing if the friend needs some help in moving, etc., etc., etc. But then what? You know, next Sunday, the friend invites me to lunch. Okay. Then what? Then, when I go the next Sunday, do I look for the crow in order to identify the house? No, because the crow has long gone, has long flown away. And so the crow is like a jagat, which is an incidental definition of Brahman, not a permanent definition. But both these definitions of Brahman as the cause of the Jagat, incidental to Brahman, this Jagat comes and Jagat goes. Brahman, Brahman expresses the Jagat. The Jagat is an expression of Brahman. It comes, it goes, etc. It is not here to stay. And then the the Swarupa Lakshana, which is a permanent, lasting definition of Brahman. Both are important. What does the Tatastha Lakshana do? The Tatastha Lakshana is, is important Because it gives me an idea about the status of the reality of the Jagat. Just like it may give the cat who is stuck on top of the shelf an idea about the reality of the dog. What is the reality of the dog? It is easily distracted. And as soon as the owner calls it, it will make room and I can go, and it forgets that I even exist. I can come down, not a problem. I can learn to coexist with this dog because I have understood the reality of this dog. It is not as scary as first thought. It is not as dangerous as I thought. Now, this is a Jnani cat, okay? So, so this is how, the Swarupa Lakshana helps one to have a perspective that is above the Jagat, where one is not dogged by the things, items, objects, people, situations, difficulties, challenges in the world. Because I know I am untouched. I know I am free. I know I am Ananda Rupa, Prakasha Swarupa I am. Thanks to the Guru's teaching, and that teaching has gone in, and I know that. But then sometimes I seem to not understand that fully, and the Jagat again opens its jaws and is out to get me. This is my fear, this is my problem, this is my pain, this is my issue. That is when the Tatastha Lakshana walks in. And we'll see more of this Tatastha Lakshana, starting with, I will chant verses 4 and 5, and maybe also 6 together, and then we'll see, because they all have the same theme. Yadajnanato bhati vishvam samastam vinashtam cha sadyo yadatma prabodhe manovagatitam vishuddham vimuktam param brahma nityam tadevahamasmi निषेधे कृते नेति नेतीति वाक्यैः समाधिस्थितीनां यदा भाति पूर्णम् अवस्थात्रयातीतमद्वैतमेकं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि यदानन्दलेशैः समानन्दि विश्वं यदा भाति सत्त्वे तदा भाति सर्वं यदालोकने रूपमन्यत् समस्तं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि. All of them have one thing in common. The word Vishwam is there. Vishwam means Jagat. Here also Vishwam is there. And then here in the verse number 5, Vishwam is implied. And then here also in verse number 4, Vishwam is there. That is what they have in common. Because in these verses, very beautiful verses, the teacher, some Shankaracharya, is going to unfold the reality of what this Jagat is. Just like the cat learned to live in peace in the same household with the dog, and then when it really gave some trouble, it would escape perhaps, but otherwise it learned to coexist with a animal that is bigger than it and more powerful, etc. Because it understood the reality of the dog. Easily distracted, one, and then not all the time the same, not all the time dangerous, and you have to catch the dog when it's wagging the tail, it will be friendly. And the dog is crazy for acceptance and love and all these things, and so I can just accept it, I can just approve of it sometimes and then disapprove of it, swat it at another time, and I'll be fine. So this way, the Tatastha Lakshana is very important, because understanding the Tatastha Lakshana, the incidental definition of Brahman in the form of what is the relationship between the Jagat that comes and goes. Why do we say the Jagat comes and goes? Because the Jagat comes and goes definitely. Why does it come and go? It comes and goes because it is expressed in the form of cycles of creation. And then where does the Jagat come from? Brahman. And then where does the Jagat go back to? Again, the answer is Brahman. And so all there is Brahman. And what is the nature of this Jagat is described very beautifully in verse number 4. Let us see. Yad ajnanataha. Ajnanataha means because of the ignorance of which Bhati Vishwam Samastam. Bhati means shines. Vishwam, the universe. Samastam, the entire universe, shines as what? As a separate entity from me. Any kind of separation causes sorrow. Yeah. So the whole Vishwam is separate from me. It's not the same as me, it's separate from me. Oh my God. Just like the cat looking down at the dog after going to its safety perch says, oh no, oh no, oh no. It's separate from me. This is scary. It is not, it's different from me. It looks different. It's not me. It's different from me. And is scared to come down, is scared to be with the dog. Similarly, the jiva is afraid to be with the dog. Get Jagat, that the jiva identifies as the cause of sorrow, fear, strife, etc. In fact, the jiva drishti, or rather, should I say, jiva srishti, the jiva's creation, the jiva's rendition, the jiva's understanding of the jagat needs a an urgent upgrade because it is subjective. The subjective understanding of the jagat, makes me makes the jiva superimpose a power to the jagat that it does not have. The universe does not have a power to overpower me, to overwhelm me, to cause me harm, provided I know who that I is. If the me resides, if the definition of me, if my definition of me and myself resides squarely and is identified with the body mind sense complex, then of course the Jagat becomes a very, very scary place to live. Obviously. That is a no brainer. If the definition of I and me is in Swarupa Lakshana, then the Jagat is not so scary. I can actually look at it from the standpoint of that which is an incidental expression of who? Me alone, because that I is Brahman. But how can you say that I have given birth to the Jagat? Not literally, okay? From the standpoint of consciousness, this is just again, the whole Jagat is non-separate from me. That's the ultimate understanding. But it looks separate. Look, this one is separate from that one, and that one has their own raga, dvesha, likes and dislikes. And the alligators are there, scary things are there, big cats like what are they? Panther, jaguar, cheetah, tiger, lion, all those things are there. And then there is all these scary things. Snakes are there, other creepy crawly reptiles are there. They are all out to get me. How can you say that they are an extension of me? If they are an extension of me, even if I know that, do they know that? That is it. That is the question. Do they know that? Means I think they know that. That's why the cat wants to become the big cat. The tiger wants to have oneness with the jiva by swallowing up the jiva. That's one way to have oneness. Okay, yeah. So they don't know that. So then, if they don't know that, they are dangerous. So how can you say that this tatastha lakshana we will help me? So because they are dangerous because I'm looking at the Jagat with a subjective understanding. Subjective understanding means I am projecting on the universe my own fears, my own anger, my own sorrow, my own desires. This is called pratibhasika, a subjective throwing, vikshepa, a subjective perspective. That is what it is. So, a subjective perspective of the Jagat is what I am throwing on the Jagat, and it is not the Jagat. That is not what the Jagat is like. The universe is there, and then on top of the universe, I have eclipsed it with my own fears. Some of the fears are common to all jivas. Like the Jagat is a very scary place. You stand on the street corner and ask anybody, they will say, yes, definitely it is scary. You don't know what's happening with the weather. By the way, that's why it's called weather, because you don't know whether it will rain or not. Okay. Yeah. So you don't know what's going to happen with the weather. You don't know what's going to happen with the with tsunamis, earthquakes. You don't know what's going to happen anywhere. And you don't know how the people who are inimical to you are going to treat you. You don't know how to protect yourself. So, definitely, there are certain common misperceptions. The first one is the Jagat is out to get me. First common misperception. Second common misperception, the Jagat is the cause of happiness because it has all the delightful objects of delight, of consumption. Whether those objects include people, etc., everything is there. People, things, situations, events, everything. So, this is the Jagat. So, this is the Jagat. The Jagat means it is there. This is there. What is there? The Jagat means the following things. It is out to get me. I have to protect myself. I have to be in this kind of a, scared ninja stance, offensive and defensive. I have to be able to throw the first punch before they are coming to hit me. Before somebody comes to attack me, I have to attack them. This is a go-getter, fearful person. This is what is called, what Adi Shankara calls prakrita buddhi, the remnants of the bestial janmas of beasts that one had taken in many lives ago. And that samskara persists. And even though one is blessed with a human life, what is one doing? One is still offensive and defensive. So, first thing is the Jagat is out to get me. Second misperception is that the Jagat is the cause of my sorrow. In fact, the whole religion is there. Buddhism is all based on Jagat. The world is the cause of sorrow. That's one of the first premises of Buddhism. We don't say that. We say the world is Ananda because it has come from Brahman, which is Ananda. But this is not understood. So the Jagat is a cause of sorrow when it doesn't fulfill my raga dveshas. When my preferences and prejudices are remain unfulfilled, then it is a cause of sorrow. Second misperception. World is out to get me. No, first one, world is different from me. Everything is separate. Second, world is out to get me. Misperception. Third misperception, the world is the cause of sorrow. Fourth misperception, the world can be if I get ahead of everybody else and if I play my cards correctly, the world can be a cause of my happiness. The secret of my happiness is in the world. These are the four common misperceptions about the Jagat based on my own veiling, my own ajnana, the veiling power of Maya, which makes me wail, which makes me cry out. This is the wailing power spelled with a V, but that which makes me wail, W. Why? And the cause is given in the first word of the first line. Ajnanataha, because of my own problems, my own self-ignorance. Ajnanataha, fifth case, because of my ajnana, like a fifth case, tasil pratyaya. So, because of my ajnanam, the world shines as separate, as scary, as out to get me, and as the cause of my sorrow, fear, anxiety, etc., and disappointment. Just like the cat looking at the dog from a shelf, looks at the dog and says, what? You are the cause of my fear. You are the cause of my sorrow. And you are the cause of all my problems. This is because of ajnanam. Ajnanam of what? Oneself. That's what it is. But in the wake of knowledge, yat, that which in the wake of knowledge, atma prabodhe, means in the wake of this self-knowledge, gained through the guru, etc. Don't forget the previous verses, okay? Yeah, gained through the guru, gained through this vritti jnanam, gained through understanding that I am the whole, gained through the transmission of the knowledge by the teacher, atma prabodhe. Then what happens? The Vishwam samastam sadyam vinashtaha. Sadyah means right now. Sadyah vinashtam Vishwam samastam. So if you take it literally, I don't know how the translation is. Yeah. So the real one, the literal translation is upon awakening to which knowledge, I mean, we should say knowledge, upon awakening to which it immediately disappears. Here is where, if the Jagat is going to disappear, then I don't want this knowledge. Many people say that. That means my children will disappear, my family will disappear, my car and my house will disappear. How am I going to live like this without my children, grandchildren, spouse and car and house? What kind of a knowledge is this? I don't want this knowledge that makes the Jagat disappear. In fact, as I said, this is a very wrong criticism leveled against Vedanta Shastra, where Adi Shankara and Vedanta Shastra in general are accused of what? Are accused of are accused of looking at the Jagat or seeing the Jagat as non-existent. So, therefore, the critiques of this kind of a wrong understanding, what do? They level two criticisms. Their criticism is centered on 2 points. First point, that the Vedanta does not consider the existence of Jagat. This is wrong. We'll see presently why. Second point is, what kind of a moksha is it that makes the Jagat disappear? And it is some kind of a dissociation. It's like a kitten drinking milk that it's not supposed to. It has snuck into the house and is drinking milk with its eyes closed, thinking that nobody is looking at it. This is a denialism. It is denialism. It is denying the Jagat. Just because I can deny the Jagat, the existence of the Jagat, till I am blue in the face, but it is not going to go away. Just like the cat sitting up on the shelf to be away from the dog can deny the existence of the dog and rock back and forth and say, this is not happening, there is no dog, but then the dog is still there. So Vedanta is accused of these two problems. But that's again because ajnanatah, non-understanding. This is because of non-understanding. We don't dismiss the Jagat. We don't say the Jagat is non-existent. Because if we were to say the Jagat is non-existent, then you are also non-existent, okay? Then Shastra is non-existent. Guru is non-existent. Shishya is non-existent. Zoom Kulam, which is what this is, not Guru Kulam, Zoom Kulam, that is also non existent. Then how will the teaching take place? And why should the teaching take place in a non existent atmosphere? If nothing exists, then there is no need for the teaching. If the Jagat is non-existent, then that is then your troubles are also non-existent. If your troubles are non-existent, like I pointed out yesterday, then I am out of a job. All the Swamis of Vedanta teachers are out of a job because there is nothing to fix, because it's a non-existent Jagat. But then the other thing also, the other premise from the standpoint from which the criticism, the perspective from which the criticism is being leveled, you are dismissing the Jagat as non existent. Meaning what? If I am dismissing the Jagat as non existent, what is your contention? They will say the Jagat is existent. Jagat is very much there. Look, you can see it, touch it, feel it, and all these things. It is available for transaction. It is objectifiable. So the Jagat is existent. If the Jagat is existent, and if the Jagat is a scary place, then that which is existent, its nature means it will never become non existent. So all the problems associated with the Jagat will be there forever. That means what? The Jagat is here to stay, the problems are here to stay, and then again I am out of a job. All the Vedanta Swamis are out of a job, because if this sorrow and pain cannot be removed, what is the point of Shastra? It is Nirarthaka. Shastra becomes Nirarthaka, means useless, meaningless, purposeless. I, already very few people interested in Advaita and Vedanta. And then if you and then on top of that, if you tell the people this Jagat will be continuing to trouble you forever and it is existent, then why will people study? What is the motivation for study? What is the motivation to take a class? And so therefore, the nature of the Jagat, the reality of the Jagat must be understood. And what is the reality of the Jagat? That it does not belong to the same order of reality as Brahman. This is what has to be understood. What is Brahman? You. Okay, what am I? That which is like the cat up there, which cannot be touched, which cannot be troubled. That is you. That is you. You are the whole. You are free of time. You are free of space. You are free of all limitations. You are the source of joy and you are the source of all knowledge. Without a lesha, without even a shadow of ignorance. That is what you are. Oh, then what is this Jagat? The Jagat is a dependent reality, that which relies on you for its existence. Now, you see, the first part is okay, but the second part I cannot handle. What do you mean the Jagat relies on you for its existence? It does. Because if you look even now, as you're listening to me, if you have a window in the room, look out of the window. And maybe you see a building, maybe you see a tree, and then you have to say, this is a building, this is a tree. You have to give the tree the reality, correct? The tree doesn't say, tada, hello, I'm a tree. Look at me. Look at this flower that is in on this branch number 4 from the left side. I'm sporting a lovely blue blossom. It doesn't have the power. Only you have the power to cognize, name, and bring the Jagat as it were to existence. You say this is a tree. Collectively, we have got together and named something as ocean, as something as lake, as other bodies of water, river, brook, creek, and then mountain, land, tree, etc. You are the one who is naming. You are the one who is cognizing, because you are self evident. And what is the Jagat? Starting with your own body, mind, sense complex, the Jagat is that which becomes evident to you. Jagat becomes evident to you. But you are what? Self evident. The building that you're looking at out of the window doesn't say, here is a human being who is a jigyasu, a seeker of knowledge, who is doing a Vedanta class. No, the building has no power to do that. Why? Jadatvat, inert. So the Jagat is Jada, the Jagat is inert. You are the only source of sentience in this Jagat. Even your body, mind, sense complex is part of the Jagat. Body inert, mind shining in borrowed light, like the moon, which shines in the light of the sun. Mind shining in the light, is just reflecting, as it were, the light of Brahman. The knowledge of the mind belongs to Brahman. Brahman shines in the mind, in a mind that is free of all encumbrances. And then the senses are inert. They also shine in borrowed light, like the stars and like the moon, or other planets, other heavenly bodies that do not emit their own light. So therefore, you are the only significant thing in the Jagat. It's like that Zen koan. Koan means some kind of a proverb, which is in the form of a question for contemplation. And what is that koan? The Zen koan goes like this. You would have heard of it. If a redwood tree falls in the forest, will it make a sound? Then one answer would be, of course, it will make a sound, because the sound is, forest means it's a Vijana Pradesha. It's a place where there are not people are not there. Will it make a sound? Of course, if you're a scientist, you will say it makes a sound, because the sound is dependent upon the volume, the size of the tree and the height from which it is falling, and the wind and the air and all the other things that are in the way that it is crashing through. Of course, it will make a crashing sound. The crashing sound is not dependent on you. It is dependent on the laws of physics, okay? Which is the law? Which are the laws of Ishvara? So you can this could be one argument in response to this particular proverb. If the redwood tree or a tree falls in the forest, will it make a sound? One paksha, one side of the argument is, yes, of course it will make a sound, because it's all set in the laws of physics. Then from the standpoint of Vedanta, we can ask another question. What is the definition of sound? Sound, that noise, sound. Okay. What is the definition of noise? Oh, that means noise means sound. Sound means noise. But then let's have a sound understanding of sound. So my question is can a sound be called a sound if there is no pair of ears to cognize it as such? Very, very important. So without the ear, if there is a sound made and there is nobody to cognize it, can it technically be called a sound? Is it the definition of a sound that which is heard is a sound? Can we not agree that that is the definition of a sound? A sound, that's a sound definition. That which is heard is a sound. So the sound, the definition of sound includes the pair of ears or even one ear. It includes the ear, because without the ear there is no sound. And who is operating the ear? I, this consciousness that is lending its presence and is, as it were, allowing the ears to go out and cognize the sound. Oh, that is some construction work going on there. Oh, this is the honk of a car, an impatient driver who cannot wait. Oh, this is the sound of a auto rickshaw plying on the street. Oh, this is somebody, banging their pots and pans. Maybe after cooking, they are cleaning the vessels. All these sounds become evident to whom? Me. I become evident to whom? Myself. So the whole Jagat becomes evident to whom? Me. Without me, is there a Jagat? Absolutely not. It is there because I cognize it. That's why in sleep there is no fear, because there is no Jagat. The mind has gone into a causal form and it's not broadcasting what the eyes see, etc., because the eyes are not seeing anything, ears are not hearing anything. Everything is in a causal form. And so the Jagat rests within. The Jagat has come to a state of rest within me. When I wake up, the Jagat wakes up. When I stretch in the morning, the Jagat also stretches. When I start complaining about the Jagat also has complaints about me. This is what it is. So therefore, yad ajnanatah bhati. So in the absence of this knowledge, Without this knowledge, the Vishwam Samastam Ajnanatah Bhati, the whole Jagat is a source of pain, is a source of sorrow, because I take it to be as real as me, number one, and then I take it to be a cause of sorrow. I mistake it to be a cause of sorrow. Number one, I mistake it to be a cause of, it's as real as me, as separate from me. This is the thing. But what happens in the wake of self knowledge? When the Guru gives the knowledge that you are everything, then you are Ishvara. Okay, if I am everything, I am Ishvara, then what is the Jagat? Jagat is also Ishvara. Then I start to look at the whole Jagat very different. I start to Ishvarize the Jagat. The whole Jagat is just a shining, the whole Jagat is full of shining names and forms of nothing but Ishvara. Nothing but Ishvara. It's all Ishvara, Ishvara, Ishvara all the way. And this is what we have to see. The Jagat is non-separate from the Maker. The Jagat is Karya, non-separate from the Karana. This is the Tatastha Lakshana. The Jagat is an expression of Bhagavan. And Bhagavan has not abandoned the Jagat. In fact, the whole Jagat is nothing but Brahman Bhagavan, Ishvara. But Bhagavan is not the Jagat. This is what we have to understand. This is a very tricky thing if it is not understood properly. Jagat is non-separate from me. All right. But I am not part of the Jagat. This is something to understand. And we will take a little trip to the ninth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita to understand this fully. In the ninth chapter, Bhagavan Krishna says, what does Bhagavan Krishna says? Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshvavasthitah na cha matsthani bhutani पश्य मे योगमैश्वरं भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थः ममात्मा भूतभावनः. Beautiful set of verses. First, the Lord says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat. This whole jagat is non-separate from me. Tatam means spread. I am spread, as it were, in the form of this whole jagat. So Bhagavan is spread. Brahman is this Jagat is nothing but Brahman. The presence of this Bhagavan is there in each and every corner of this Jagat, which is what led that wonderful dialogue, which is what is illustrated by this wonderful dialogue between Prahlada, the devotee of Lord Narayana, and Mahavishnu, and his father Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was a dictator, a narcissistic fellow. And what did he want? He wanted the entire kingdom not to chant the name of God, but to chant his own name. So anybody who was saying Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya were beaten into submission and were told to only chant Om Hiranyaya Namaha. Hiranya is his name. And they were told to chant only his name. There was only one holdout, an important holdout, a young child by the name of Prahlada, who happened to be Hiranyakashipu's son. The height of embarrassment. I am telling the whole kingdom to go after me, and my own son is flouting my rules. First, the father coaxed and cajoled and beat up the son and locked up the son, but the son did not quit saying Om Namo Narayanaya, refused to say Om Hiranyaya Namaha. The son said, I respect you, father, daddy, I respect you. I have no problem with you. I don't have any issues. But you are not God. But my Bhagavan who is everywhere. who is the indweller of this body mind sense complex, who is in everything, who is in every tree, who is in all the seas, who is in the light of the sun, who is the air that I breathe. This is the Bhagavan that I worship. And so, as the story goes, what did Hiranyakashipu do? What, Bhagavan? Where is he? Where is your Narayana? Everywhere. He kicked a pillar. Is it in this pillar? In some pillar in the palace wall, in the palace column. One column was there. And Prahlada said, why not? He's be there. And his Shraddha was so much that when Hiranyakashipu took an axe and broke open the pillar, out of that ensued a horrible looking creature, half a man, body of a man, head, the head and torso of a lion, and the legs of a human being. And it had to be like this, because the Hiranyakashipu was not really a demon. He was a devotee who had become demonic due to some kind of a hubris. I am the best, east or west. When that kind of a ego comes, even the best of devotees have to be on watch. This is what we learn from the story. There's nobody like me. I am God. Like this, if they this half knowledge is dangerous. And so, as a devotee, he had asked for numerous boons. I should not be killed either by a man or by an animal. I should not be killed in the house or out of the house. I should not be killed during the day or during the night. No problem. There are loopholes everywhere. Narasimha appeared at twilight, which is neither day nor night. And I should not be killed on the floor or in the air. Okay, Narasimha came and snatched this Hiranyakashipu and then took him on his lap, which is neither floor nor in the air, and took him on the threshold, which is neither inside the house nor outside the house. And, tore with his claws the navel area, which is the seat of the Ahankara. This has to be taken metaphorically. Otherwise, it's all blood and gore, and that's not the idea of this teaching. That is not the teaching at all. Metaphorically, liberated the ego, liberated Hiranyakashipu from the hold of his ahankara by destroying his ahankara. This is what the thing is. That I am invincible and immortal, I am the best, east or west, that is what it is. But the story here talks about how, this Prahlada's Shraddha arising from the knowledge of Vedanta, that this Bhagavan is everywhere. This Bhagavan, Brahman as Bhagavan. Brahman as Bhagavan means Brahman plus the Jagat. That is what, gives Brahman the causality. This, imbues Brahman with the status of being the cause of the universe. When the Jagat is not there, then we just have Swarupa Lakshana, Satchidananda, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, etc. So this is Brahman is the cause of the universe here, and cause means what? I am Ishvara. I have Aishwaryam. I have overlordship of the universe. I make this universe run. I even make Lord Yama run from place to place. Oh, go get him, and now her, and now him, and now it, like this. Everybody is following my laws. Nay, I am in the form of laws. So this Jagat is nothing but Bhagavan. One has to Ishwarize the Jagat. One has to understand this how? By becoming a devotee. And that is part of what is called in the second line Atma Prabodha. Atma Prabodha means self knowledge, and that self knowledge does not come without devotion. We saw that in an earlier verse. Virakti and Bhakti and everything are together there. Without bhakti, there cannot be any mukti. Bhakti becomes an indirect means for mukti. The direct means being exposure to self knowledge, Vedanta. So without bhakti, there cannot be mukti. And I look upon my whole look of the Jagat changes. I don't see it as a object of consternation. I don't see it as something out to get me. I am peaceful because I know Bhagavan is everywhere. If I trip and fall, that is also Bhagavan. No problem. Some karma gone. That is how to see it. And if I trip and don't fall, that is also Bhagavan. The Bhumi, the earth is Bhagavan. We worship earth as mother goddess. There is a whole Vedic sukta called Bhu Suktam. We worship she who feeds us all. She is Bhagavati. And everything is just Bhagavan, including what? My own psychology. That also I have to Ishwaraize. It's easy to say the tree is Bhagavan, the sea is Bhagavan, the noise is Bhagavan, peace is Bhagavan, cacophony is Bhagavan, sunset is Bhagavan, sunrise is Bhagavan. It's easy to say that. But what about your own mind? What about your own emotions? That too is Bhagavan. Very beautiful teaching this is. The Tatastha Lakshana, that's why it is so important to understand. Without the understanding of Tatastha Lakshana, there can be no liberation. If you just go with Swarupa Lakshana, I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam, nothing happens. It's incomplete. Why? Because we have to live in, just like the cat who has to live with a pair of dogs, perhaps it's the only cat. I have to live in this manifest universe, which without this understanding will definitely appear separate from me, which will definitely be a source of pain, source of sorrow, source of fear, everything. That is why I have to make peace with the Jagat. In order to make peace with the Jagat, I don't have to shake hands with each and every person. That will be exhausting and impossible. I don't have to make peace with each and every name and form. That is again impossible. I just have to make peace with the source, one entity who is non separate from me, that Ishvara, which is Brahman, equipped with the power to create, equipped with the power to sustain, and the power to take back. That Ishvara alone I have to settle accounts with. I have to make peace with. How do I make peace with Ishvara? By accepting what is. Because what is Ishvara. That's why the word Ishvara, if you spell in English, the first two letters are what? I-S, is. What is Ishvara. And that is resolves into I. I for Ishvara, I for me, myself. This is Mahavakya. This is Vedanta. So then, how to Ishvarize the Jagat? Because you don't look for Ishvara as something separate that is sitting on your altar. Yes, that too is Ishvara in your puja room or in your altar, whatever you have is Ishvara, is a manifestation also. But the manifestation is everywhere. Whatever I look at is Ishvara. Wherever I look is Ishvara. Whatever I touch is Ishvara. Then, it's easy, as I said, to appreciate it out there. But coming to my own body, the body is a manifestation of Ishvara. That's why the same treatment that you give to icons of Bhagavan in temples, where you bathe it, and then put a new dress on the Bhagavan, and then put jewelry, flowers, everything. Same thing you do to this body, because the body is a manifestation of Ishvara, and to that indweller which of this body, mind, sense complex, which is Bhagavan, I pay respect. That's why we adorn the forehead with vermilion and chandanam. Chandanam means this sandalwood paste, etc. Vibhuti, holy ash, or anything. You adorn, and women in the culture will wear flowers. It's not for the sake of some fashion statement. It's for the worshipping the indweller within. That is what it is. Body is Ishvara. Then mind is also Ishvara. And I cannot tell you how redemptive it is to understand this as fully as possible, that the mind is Ishvara. Because mind means what? It's a storehouse of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, and matsarya. It's a storehouse of difficult emotions, emotions that are difficult to accept. Anger is Ishvara. Then sorrow is Ishvara. And then pain of any kind of, doubt, despair, Ishvara. Hopelessness, Ishvara. Jealousy, Ishvara. Pride, Ishvara. But how to understand this? Because when you look at your own mind and say, this sorrow, first we can say, is given by Ishvara because of my response to a particular situation. When I say that, that means what? I'm Ishvarizing the sorrow. So, step number one, the sorrow is given by Ishvara. Step number two, this challenging situation, sorrow, etc., is non separate from Ishvara. Step number three, if my sorrow is Ishvara, then your sorrow is also Ishvara, his sorrow is Ishvara, her sorrow is Ishvara, my anger is Ishvara, your anger is Ishvara, her anger, his anger, the anger of the dog, the cat, everything is Ishvara. Then what? Then there is no my sorrow anymore. Sorrow becomes Ishvarized. It is it is a manifestation of this mind. Meaning wherever there is a mind and wherever it is a mind not blessed with Atma Jnanam, there will be sorrow. You look at it objectively now. So, in the absence of Atma Prabodha, in the absence of self knowledge, then Bhati Vishwam Samastam, the whole world becomes a source of pain. I cannot stand my own mind, which is a source of pain. I cannot stand my own emotions. I cannot accept my own emotions. When you accept the anger, yes, there is a reason why I am angry, and I am angry because I did not get my desires met, then already you are more than halfway of resolving that anger. So, anger is a manifestation of Ishvara, and the free will given to resolve that anger also a manifestation of Ishvara. It cannot be anything separate. Cannot be anything separate. I have the ability to make peace with the anger. That is also Ishvara. Sorrow is Ishvara. The ability to override the sorrow and have this Atma Jnanam, that is again Ishvara. So in this kind of a open-eyed meditation, where contemplation, where I see the entire Jagat as Ishvara, then what? The Jagat doesn't become a source of pain, sorrow. The Jagat is not a thorn on the side. Then I have more objectivity and I'm able to separate the Jagat from samsara. Samsara is a personalized Jagat, is a subjective Jagat, a Jagat upon which I have thrown my own non understanding, my own fears, my own desires. That converts the benign Jagat, which is Ishvara, into samsara, which is out to get me. This is what Tatastha Lakshana teaches us, which is very, very, very important. Yad Atma Prabodhe Vinashtam Samastam. What Atma Prabodhe, in the wake of this knowledge, Samastam, the entire thing, Vinashtam is destroyed. What is destroyed? Jagat is not destroyed. Samsara is destroyed. It is not Jagataha Nivritti. It's not Nivritti from the Jagat. It is samsarasya nivritti. It's a nivritti, it's a freedom from samsara, not, it's freedom of samsara, not freedom from this, what is that, from the Jagat. Because the Jagat is Ishvara Srishti, it's Ishvara's creation. Starting with this body, the mind, the senses, the entire Jagat is nothing but Ishvara's creation. And then on top of that Ishvara's creation, not to be outdone, the Jiva has put its own Srishti. Jiva Srishti is there. Jiva Drishti is Jiva Srishti. So my outlook upon this Jagat, seeing it to be like the cat at first, the unschooled cat which is afraid of the dog and climbs up the cupboard of the bookshelf. So I am retreating somewhere. I refuse to engage with the Jagat. I am afraid. I am terrified. I am bored. I am, in pain. I am in sorrow. This is the condition. But after this knowledge, what happens? Like the cat comes down and learns to defend itself, meaning learns to peacefully coexist with the dog. I see that the Jagat is not out to get to me because out to get me. I see the Jagat as a benign manifestation of Ishvara. Looking at any aspect of the Jagat, I'm immediately in contemplation. So this is the benefit of the understanding the Tatastha Lakshana, because what does the Swarupa Lakshana do? The Swarupa Lakshana is good to is good for samsara nivritti temporarily. We can say. But without this understanding of how to live in the Jagat and how to live in the Jagat, seeing that it is Ishvara Srishti, and not trying to make it go away. You cannot make Ishvara Srishti go away. You cannot make the mind go away. You cannot make the body go away. It is here to stay. So I make peace with it in the light of self-knowledge. That can only come through the understanding of Tatastha Lakshana, Brahman as the cause of the universe. Because I make peace with this Bhagavan, and then that is how it is. And the last two lines of the verse go back to Swarupa Lakshana, Vaga Atitam, that which is beyond the mind and beyond speech, that which you cannot describe, that which is not an object, which is not an object of the mind or the speech, which is Vishuddham, free. Sorry, Vimuktam, free. Vishuddham, free of Papa, Punya, Raga, Dvesha. The Vimuktam, Vishuddham means free of guilt and hurt. Vimuktam means free of pain, sorrow, everything. And that Brahman indeed, Tadeva Ahamasmi. And, so then this is the one more thing about this Manobhagatitam. Atitam means beyond the mind and the speech. Because what are we used to? We are used to categorizing everything. We are used to naming everything. We are used to, looking at everything as an object. We are used to only one thing. This is that, this is separate from that. That is how it is. And if the mind tries to grasp Brahman in the same way, then it comes back defeated. If the speech tries to name Brahman and say, this is Brahman, and then what happens? It beats a retreat. Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha. This is from the Taittiriya Upanishad, where the mind and the speech come back together, where the speech and the mind come back together, and having beaten a retreat, having not understood what this Brahman is, having not understood. And what is this Brahman? That which is Bhagavan. Maya tatam idam sarvam. That which is spread as Bhagavan. That universe which is non-separate from Ishvara. And then what? Matsthani sarva bhutani. All these beings are just have come from me alone. But then the very next the line reverses this. Naja matsthani bhutani. But I have nothing to do with these beings because I'm away from all of them. Pashyame yoga maishwaram. Look at this magic, oh Arjuna. Look at my yoga of magic. Look at this magic. Bhutabhrit. Nacha bhutastha. I am not, situated in one or two beings like that. I'm not literally situated in the beings. That is not my place. I am manovagatitam. I am atita. I transcend the universe. Transcend means what? I'm lending without me there is no universe, but I am not this universe. If you want to see the reality of me, then the universe is a start. The universe is a start because the universe is non-separate from me, but I am not confined to this universe. Because then again, Swarupa Lakshana, which is free of time, free of space, free of being an object. Then how can I be the universe? Because universe is full of objects. I am free of being an object. The universe is full of finite things. I am infinite. So the infinite has blessed the finite with its presence to shine, has lent its presence, has lent its existence, has lent its name, its shining, its all knowledge, has lent its ananda. That's why Jagat is ananda. Jagat is not a cause of sorrow for us. This is what the Lord teaches. The simultaneous operation of Tatastha Lakshana, Swarupa Lakshana and Tatastha Lakshana. But first, Tatastha Lakshana, Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam. Everything is informed by me. There is no part of the Jagat that is not myself. Then Najamadstani Bhutani. I am beyond all this. Because otherwise we'll say Brahman has lost weight after becoming the Jagat. It's just like you take some jam and spread it on a few slices of bread. Then what happens? The jam is over. In the bottle, there is no more jam. So like this, if the spread is called Satchidananda and Satchidananda has spread itself, so the Jagat is so vast, Satchidananda is gone. No. That is what is called transcendental. That is what is called Manovaga Atitam. That is Atitam is transcends. That which transcends any kind of naming, any kind of categorizing, it resists. And that is what is Vishuddha, free in itself, free of guilt, hurt, papa, punya, sorrow, fear, all these things, free of being an object, free of time, free of space. So therefore, you see how beautifully the Swarupa Lakshana and the Tatastha Lakshana talk to one another so nicely. Very, very wonderful. Next one, how to understand this is given, here. And also a continuation of the teaching. निषेधे कृते नेति नेतीति वाक्यैः समाधिस्थितीनां यदा भाति पूर्णम् अवस्थात्रयातीतमद्वैतमेकं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि निषेधे कृते when the negation is done. When the negation is done, how? By saying this is not it, this is not Brahman, this is not you, this is not you, not you, not you, not you, not this, not this. How? Vakyaihi, through sentences of the Veda, by the Vedic statements. And then, and then that which shines, that which is understood by, statements of negation first, and then that which is understood by statements of affirmation. How? As the fullness that is there for the contemplative beings. That which the contemplative beings experience as their own fullness, wholeness of being. And then avastha trayatitam, that which is free of, of all the states, such as what? Sleeper, waker, dreamer. These are the three states. And then advaitam ekam. Advaitam means that which is non-dually one. Ekam. That Brahman alone I always am. I'm always abiding as that Brahman, which is understood in two ways. First, it is understood as empty of name and empty of form. Not emptiness personified, no. Empty of name and empty of form. So what does it mean, empty of name? Empty of name means very easy. But you are calling it Brahman. Yes, I'm calling it Brahman, but again, that Brahman just is a vague definition because all it conveys is that it is limitlessly big. That's all it conveys. This is what Brahman is. So limitlessly means how big? Limitlessly big. That's all it is. It is a name because I have to call it some name. Because how to teach, how to study, how to understand. But that name doesn't confine that Brahman because The whole Taittiriya Upanishad unfolds that word Brahman and unfolds the definition, and by defining Brahman as that which is free of all limitations and that which is the source of all existence and the source of all knowledge, you circumvent thinking that Brahman means this particular object, because it is revealed as you. As soon as you say the source of all sentience, you are the sentient being. That is where the Mahavakya operates. In the word Jnanam, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. So that Jnanapada, that Jnana Shabda is you only, nothing else. And it immediately refers to you. It is just so beautiful. That Jnanapada is you. That the word Jnanam, all knowledge is you. All knowledge means sentient consciousness. And how is this understood? The teaching operates in two ways. What is the first way? First, because there is a mix up between the I and the not I, the Atma and the Anatma are totally mixed up. Between the I and the not I, there is a mix up. And so, therefore, what? Therefore, you have to separate. मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कारचित्तानि नाहम् न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमिर्न तेजो न वायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्. I have to negate this. This is called Nirvana Shatkam. 6 verses on what I am not. Very, very important. Because since the I is mixed up in the not I think I am the body, first mistake. I think I am the mind. I think I am the senses. I think I am my child, my spouse. I think I am the house. So all this is how the thinking is. So the I has been spread out into various objects, and so the I has to be retracted and pulled back out of those objects and people and places where it doesn't belong. How are you going to say this? How is this going to be achieved? Because a good portion of the teaching is Nishedha Karanam. Nishedha here means the negation. Negation of what? Of all the mix-ups. So the affirmation comes only after the negation. Same thing in the Gita also. Achedyoyam adahyoyam ashleshyo shoshya evacha. That which is not subject to being burnt, which is not subject to water damage, that which cannot be dried up or dehydrated or damaged by the air. That is who you are. First, it is negated. You are not a mortal. You are not subject to death. You are not subject to destruction. So the not first come. Then what are you? Nitya Sarvagatasthanu Sanatanaha. The later it will come. You are eternal. You are there forever. In fact, you never come to an end. And Sarvagataha, you are all pervasive consciousness. You are all pervasive existence. That comes later. First, because if the mix up is not removed, then there is no way to understand who I am. So, first, the Shastra negates all the things that don't belong in the hope that the mix up will also go. So, the words of the Shastra say, you are not the body. Manaha na aham. Aham here means you have to understand as tvam in the Nirvana Shatkam. You are not the mind. Buddhi na aham. You are not the intellect. Ahankara. You are not the I notion, the ego. Chittam. Chittam means the emotive faculty in the mind. You are not. And you are not the sense organs. Shrotram, Jihva, Shrotra Jihve, Grana, the sense of smell, Netra, the sight, sense of sight. Eyes, you're not any of those things. And where did all these senses come from? They all came from the 5 elements. So, no, you are not the 5 elements or the sum total of them or any of them individually. Nacha vyoma bhumihi. You are not space, you are not the earth. Nacha vyoma bhumir na tejaha. You are not the fire. Na vayuhu. You are not the wind, the air. You are not any of those elements. The negation is complete. Neti, neti, na iti, na iti, na iti. You're not this, you're not this, you're not this. Oh, then must be I am zero. No, wait till the small print. The last line has to come, which is a refrain. Chidananda Rupaha. Shivoham, Shivoham. Chidananda means I am in the form of that consciousness which is non-separate from Ananda, because it is a everlasting, ever present, never absent consciousness, which is the truth of this entire universe. That's why it is Ananda. Because I want, that is in keeping with my own yearning. I want to be this, and I find that I'm already this. Chidananda Rupaha. And it is Shivaha, means pure, auspicious, free of guilt. Why did I do this? Free of hurt. Why did somebody else do this to me? Well, free of omissions, commissions, free of sorrow, free of pain, free of discord, free of disharmony. I am that. This is understood. So the words of negation in the Shruti as much are as important as the words of affirmation. Negation and affirmation go together. It is amazing, because until that mix up is negated, what you are cannot be affirmed. And besides, what you are already shines because it is self evident. Like, the copper pot, you first have to clean it with a little bit of tamarind or lemon. You clean it, then it shines on its own. You don't have to put shine. The shine is there, but the shine is underneath the patina of self ignorance and wrong mix up between things, places, situations, etc. The wrong mix up is removed, and the shine is already there. And how is the shine? By whom is this shining experienced? This shining yat abhati, this shining self, as free of sorrow, strife, etc., is experienced by samadhisthiti, the people who are contemplative. Samadhisthiti, the people, the contemplative ones, the ones who are not wondering what to buy next. What shall I order on Amazon.com? The person is not obsessed with, or which movie shall I look at now, or where shall I go now, or which accounts with whom should I settle. This one has insulted me twice, and now I have to come up with a response. All these things. I have to right so many wrongs in my life. No such thing. No such thing at all. And this is, there's no such thing. No such, the obsession is not there with the Jagat. The one has inward come. One has, come to a place of an inward repose, because the Jagat is non-separate from me, and I delight in myself. I am Atmani Eva Atmana Tushtaha. I'm happy by myself, with myself. And for such persons, that whole Jagat, the whole Brahman, Abhati, shines as my own fullness of being, as my own joy, as my own contentment, as my own non-demanding nature, it shines. And then what? It is avasthatraya atitam. Avasthatraya atitam means it is beyond the, it shines for me. Which me? The sleeping me, the waking me. Which one is shining as Purna? The waking me. Definitely not the waking you. Because in the waking state you have so many complaints. How can there be Purnatvam in the waking state? Unless you are already a jnani, which knows this. But otherwise, if you don't have understanding of Vedanta, the waking state is the worst and the most miserable of all these states. If you want to count that, the most miserable. Dream state is sometimes miserable, but thankfully it is short lived. Even if you have a nightmare, you find that, you dream that somebody is beating you up, but it comes to an end. But the waking state is the most miserable, because you are here to experience it. You are karta, you are an agent, and you are a bhokta. You are the recipient of other people's agency. And that's where the rub lies, because you feel helpless. Other people are attacking you, but you don't know what to do and how to help yourself. The waking state is the most miserable, because you experience the Jagat fully there. In the dream state, what you experience is a dream jagat, your own projected jagat, your own subjective pratibhasika jagat you experience in the dream state. And then in the sleep, there is the experience of Ishvara. That's all. There is nothing else. Experience not of Ishvara as Ishvara. Your oneness with Ishvara is all that is there. Therefore, there is only Ananda. Now, you see, from the standpoint of the waking state, it is easy to falsify the dream state and the sleeping state. Both can be easily and effortlessly falsified. You can see what is there in the dream state. It's a dream. Come on. Just because I won a lottery in the dream doesn't mean I can pay a down payment for the house in the waking state. Not possible. So I don't take it seriously. Nice dream. I won a lottery. Big deal. That's all. Sleep also, you say, yeah, I just need to recharge. That's why I'm sleeping. Otherwise, I don't even have time to sleep. You say that. I just need to recharge and I'm just sleeping here briefly. And then, so therefore, what? So therefore, there is a very interesting connection here. Is that then, you can falsify the waking state and, sorry, the dream state and the sleep state. But what shines as real and very, very real is the waking state. Waking state, you take it to be real. Why? Because I can objectify things. I am the agent of seeing. I am the agent of hearing. I am the agent of all these things that whatever is happening. I experience things. I make things happen. I'm the mover and the shaker of all these things. But the Shastra tells us that if the other two states are not real, how can this also be real? Think about it. Because when you sleep, the sleep cancels the waking state, correct? So the waking state is also finite. Real means infinite. So the waking state is also finite because sleep cancels the waking state, dream cancels the sleep state, and the waking state cancels the dream state. Each one is cancelling out the other. So how can anyone have a reality? Real means it should be everlasting. I should be awake all the time, like a bhuta, like some kind of a preta. Preta means like some kind of a disembodied being. I should be hovering all the time. No, I go to sleep. I have a dream. Now I am awake. Now I am asleep. Now I am dreaming. What is the reality? What is the unchanging thing in this sentence? Now I am asleep. Now I am awake. Now I am dreaming. What is the invariable? The words now I am. That is invariable. I now am. I am now. Now I am. That is what is invariable. Now I am, fill in the blanks. Angry. Now I am associated with an emotion called anger. Now I am as though associated with an emotion called contentment. Now I am associated with a state called sleeping. Now I am associated with a state called waking. Now I am associated with a state called dreaming. I am the author of all these states. No state is complete without me, but I am free of all these states. All these states derive their being in me, are sustained by me, they resolve in me, but I am not any one of them because I have to transcend all three of them in order to sustain all of them. So, what am I? I am that shining consciousness called Turiya, short for Chaturiya, which is dubbed as the fourth state. There is no fourth state. Fourth from the standpoint of your ajnanam. From the standpoint of one's mixed up understanding or non-understanding, you count waking, dream, sleep, and then there is turiya. How to get to the fourth state? Then there will be a question. I'm trying to stave off that question in the question answer pod. Okay, because now you can listen carefully, so you need not you can preempt this question completely. And what is the question? How to get to the fourth state? Array, there is no fourth state. The fourth state is just called because you are counting one, two, three. And I want to tell you that it is separate. The Upanishad wants to tell you. So then it is bringing in the number four because you have already counted up to three. In fact, the Turiya is the only state. The Turiya appears as the waker without being the waker. The Turiya manifests as the sleeper without being the sleeper. The Turiya manifests as the dreamer and enjoys the dream without being the dreamer. Manifests as without being. So, what is this Turiya? This Turiya is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That now is Ananda. That is Sat, and am, I know I am, is Chit. This Satchidanandam Brahma, this Satchidananda alone is occupying the waking state right now. If you look at it like this, the waking state will forever be transformed into not something to dread, really. So the Satchidananda is now awake, Satchidananda now asleep, Satchidananda now in dream. And the same thing you can say, Satchidananda now contented, now grumbling, now meditating, now distracted, all as though, as though, as though, as though, as though. And this Brahman alone I am. Next one. यदानन्दलेशैः समानन्दि विश्वम् यदा भाति सत्त्वे तदा भाति सर्वम् यदालोकने रूपमन्यत् समस्तं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि यत् आनन्दलेशैः due to the ananda of the world, the jagat depends upon Brahman. This is the first line. The ananda, the joy in the jagat, the joy of the jagat depends upon the joy of Brahman. Because there are no two joys. This would be problematic because sometimes people think there are two joys. One is the worldly joy, little happinesses that you get out of ice cream and going to coffee with a friend, doing this, doing that, little joys that are there, that you get. And there is the bliss of Brahman. They use the word bliss and they type it in a capital also. Capital B for bliss. This is very confusing because then I think there should be two joys. No, there's only one joy, and that one joy is nothing other than Brahman, Bhagavan, Ishvara. That joy is you, and that joy alone shines. The Jagat borrows that joy in the form of making the objects of delight appear very delightful. The Jagat becomes delightful, a source of delight because of me. Who is me? Brahman. The Jagat borrows my delight unbridled and limitless. The delight belonging to the Jagat, small object based delights. The object based delights are not from the subject centered delight, are not separate from the subject centered delight. It's one and the same. Except since the object based delights are finite, then the delight associated with them is also finite. Since the subject is infinite, the subject based delight is infinite. That is the only difference. Then, then the whole world becomes a source of joy, knowing which I as joyful. When I know myself as joy, as the source of all joy, the Jagat also, which was the source of sorrow, becomes extremely joyful. And then yat abhati sattve means that which shines in a mind that is purified from being enslaved to various kinds of bondages in the form of desires, binding desires. Then all this manifest, that all this manifest universe, the universe looks as a bright extension of myself alone. In this extension, yad alokane, when I look at the universe, rupam anyat samastam, all the names and form are just nothing other than myself. This realization comes with the understanding of Vedanta and with sattva mind, the mind that is free of longings, the mind that is free of pressures, and the mind that is very, very, what's that, in keeping with the knowledge, an enlightened mind. That is what will see itself as Brahman. And so that Brahman I always am. More we'll see in the in the concluding session this afternoon. And now I will look at some questions. And then just as Brahman is Jagat, and Jagat, no, the other way around. Just as Jagat is Brahman, but Brahman is not the Jagat. That you have to change this question. Just as Jagat is Brahman, but Brahman is not the Jagat. That is a better way to say it. Can we understand that Brahman is Atma, Atma is not Brahman? No. Brahman and Atma are one and the same. Atma is another word for Brahman. It is not a component because Brahman doesn't have parts. Okay. If we are talking of a thing with parts, then we can say, okay, it has parts, but Brahman has no parts. So you cannot say that. Jagat is Brahman. Brahman is more than the Jagat. Atma, I is that Brahman alone because the I is not having parts. I is that Brahman, Satchidananda. Which effort will take us to Turiya? Thankfully, you don't have to go to Turiya. You are already Turiya. You have to understand it by exposing yourself to this kind of a knowledge all the time. That's what it is. And can we please touch upon how to do Vedantic meditation to strive to realize Atma Bodha? Atma Bodha is not something that is a product of meditation, first of all. First, let me say I'm happy to demonstrate Vedanta meditation. We'll do that in the concluding session, no problem. The wish is granted, no problem at all. But meditation, only what it does is makes way and space for the mind for this knowledge to take place. The redemption is not in meditation, it is through Shravanam, listening to this kind of a knowledge all the time. That is going to a qualified teacher, listening to the knowledge, that is what redeems you, not meditation. Meditation is karma, and that karma phaladi, the results of that karma mean what? You are free, you are free enough and grown up enough, qualified, you become an adhikari for this knowledge. You are the raga dveshas calm down. That is a gift of meditation. You are more in the present. All this happens. Yeah. Can I have your email ID? Sure, certainly. I will put it here somewhere in the chat pod or something. I can put it. I don't know where to put it, but because it is yesterday it showed. Okay, maybe I can do that here. Is there a way of putting the email in the chat pod, Hari?
Yes, we can send it in the chat box.
Yeah, please send it because here it is. Now I can send it. Hold on. Yeah,
Yeah.
now I found it as we did that. I will give you the website and the email, so you can all the website has other classes there, so you can look at that. This is the website, the first thing that comes, and then my email is here. Yeah, all right. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. We will meet exactly at 4 o'clock Indian time. Thank you. Om Tat Sat.